Howdy folks, welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty jingles, except, what's this? Artillery? Who are you? What have you done with the real jingles? Don't worry, this isn't me. Although it's unusual to see an artillery replay on my channel. This is a hero artillery replay. This is Nix the Nixter, and he's platooned up with his buddy Mad Fred 60, and they're in a tier 5 artillery platoon here in a tier 6 game on Sand River. Now, Nix is driving the AMX 13105, tier 5 French artillery. It's pretty quick, doesn't do a massive amount of damage with its gun, but it's reasonably accurate and it fires relatively quickly. I still keep thinking of this thing as a tier 4 artillery, and it wasn't very good as a tier 4 artillery. I've no idea what it's like now it's tier 5. But judging by this replay, it doesn't look very good. And I don't think Nix would mind. He fires blind. We don't see an explosion. It looks like he actually hit that Su-85. Obviously, XVM, the hit counter at the top of the screen, only records observed damage. You have to actually see the hit before XVM will report it. So he actually does a lot more damage in this game than is reported by the XVM mod at the top of the screen. So don't pay too much attention to that. But at the same time, it's not a very good artillery replay. And I don't think Nix would object to me saying that, because it's not about the artillery gameplay. That's not the reason why I'm showing you this. That Churchill, 1 health. He's getting pounded by... You see, there are all sorts of stuff spotted that we just... Well, all sorts of stuff not spotted that keep caning the crap out of everybody that tries to push over the ridge. Now, our two biggest tanks on the team, our 3601H and T150, camp the base the entire game. It's that kind of game. And Fred steals a kill there. But that's the kind of game that Nix was having. He's, we all have it where you're just about to take a shot and somebody else kills him, or you're just about to take a shot and he moves. and that's even more of a problem in artillery than anything else. I mean, I probably would have been tempted to take this shot at this Churchill. You see all those shots going through, but none of them hit. So Nix doesn't waste the shot. Instead, he's going for targets that he knows he's going to hit, or at least he knows he has a chance of hitting. Now, as an artillery replay goes, Mad Fred in the M41 has a blinding game. This would probably have been a very entertaining pure artillery replay seen from his perspective. Nix's game, not so much. But again, well, you just wait and watch. So Nix has seen that there is at least a T-34 coming over the ridge to the north. There's probably going to be more, because everybody who went up that valley to the north has died. T-49 is retreating. This AT-8, who is fighting the town like a boss, he's the only one spotted, but he's not the one doing all the killing. Everything that's coming in to try and attack this AT-8 is getting hammered by Su-85s, Su-100s, T1 heavies? No, well, I'm not sure what, because we haven't spotted them. It's difficult to say. But that AT-8 is definitely not alone in there. So the AT-8 is having a great game. Even if he's not doing that much direct damage himself, he is going to have a massive amount of spotting damage. He keeps getting spotted again and again. The guy's actually surrounded on to the front and both sides. The only place he doesn't have enemy tanks is behind him. Fred scores a hit on him there. The AT-8 is... He's probably not doing that great a job. I mean, I dare say it's probably not through... Can we get the kill? Yeah, there he gets the kill. So, 1 kill each for the artillery platoon. The AT-8 is probably in there cursing his team for leaving him alone in there to die. And just due to the nature of... I mean, he's a very tough tank destroyer. The rest of his team basically using him as a lure. And it worked. The enemy team were getting kills left, right and centre. Not much fun for the AT-8 driver, who probably should never have gone into that town alone. But the rest of his team took full advantage of his spotting everybody who came in there to try to kill him. Now we've got a KV-1 and an AT-2. Note that the T-150 and the 360-1H are still sitting in the base. Now there's a KV-1 and a T-34-85 coming over from the north. There's nothing but a T-49 and a Stug-3 there to try to stop them. So, and Hummel Dexter, the guy in the Stug-3, has noted that Nix is running for his life. This is definitely the right time to move. So he's relocating back to where Mad Fred is. They've just lost their flat panzer. Nix knows that if they lose the T-49 and the Stug, he's next. So he's switching fire to try to cover the T-49 and the Stug. The Stug driver can probably see the writing on the wall and knows that he's not going to get any support from the 361H and the T-150, who have barely moved 30 metres between them the entire game, unless they fall back far enough that the T-150 and the 361H can actually stop pointing their guns at enemy tanks and doing something. And that means falling back and making the T-34-85 and KV-1 chase them. T-34-85 just popped back up again. Oh, the Churchill stops, but the shot went long anyway. Right. We've lost our T-49. Now the Stug is pretty much... I'll say the Stug is holding the base alone. And he pretty much is, because the only other two people defending the base are the 361H and the T-150, both of whom are useless. And there was a blind shot, went in and nailed the T-34-85. So Nix is actually on 2 kills now. Unfortunately, they're losing 7-10. And it's usually around about this time that the guys who die start blaming their deaths on everybody else. Artillery is almost always a likely candidate. There it is. There it is. Artie, you're asleep. I would suggest that the 360-1H, who is still camping the base, is probably a slightly more worthy candidate for your rage than the artillery, who have scored almost as many kills as the rest of the team combined. You know, just saying. Meanwhile, the T-150, look at him. You see him on the map? Now that everybody else is dead, now he decides to go on the attack. Mad Fred steals another kill there. There's 2 kills each. Artillery now have as many kills as the rest of the team combined. The T-150's gone to suicide, so we may as well take as much advantage of that as we possibly can by shooting the crap out of everything that he runs into before they kill him, because they're going to kill him. He sucks. He's charging off alone into a hornet's nest of enemy tanks. He's going to get surrounded. And it's like he's just got a hard-on for this 3001D. Churchill's trying to sneak around behind him. This guy's getting all the artillery support that he totally doesn't deserve. Churchill 3 has a terrible gun. If he's going to penetrate a T-150, he has to do it from behind. And he's gone. 3001D finished him off. To be honest, of the 3 tanks that had this guy surrounded, the 3001D was the only one with a gun that could actually get through the T-150's armour. So, yeah, T-150 wakes up, suicides, after doing nothing the entire game. So it's looking pretty bad. We've got a Stug, a 100% useless 361H on our 2-man artillery platoon, and we have no idea where the enemy tanks are, but we know they're heading our way. So we can sit here and accept our fate, or we can try to do something about it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Watch this. There he is in chat. I'll go attack. Fuck it. Hero artillery mode engaged. So here comes the AMX 13105 French Scout artillery. This thing is pretty quick. Certainly not the fastest of the French artillery, but it's definitely not slow. 3001D, bam, Fred finishes him off. SU-100 next. Now, it's probably the 3601H who's just sitting there looking pretty on the top of the hill, who's spotting the SU-100 and getting the crap shot out of him by the SU-100. That guy may be AFK for all I know. Let's just assume that there are only 3 of us left, because the 3601H is about as much use as tits on a fish. So, come on Fred, you've got the shot. Take it. There we go. There's Fred's 4th kill. Oh, good damage roll. 580. Good stuff. There are still 5 enemy tanks unaccounted for. Those Churchills are on pretty low health. Nobody's seen the KV-1 in a while. And they have 2 artillery. We need a brothers in arms out of this, you crazy artillery scout, you. There's only 4 minutes of the game left. Go for it, Nix. Scout like the mad French bastard you are. And he's off. Now, the KV-1 was last spotted due north of where Nix is. The Churchills were both down in the town. The Churchills aren't particularly fast, and there's the KV-1. Come on, Stug. Come on, Stug. You've waited your whole life for this moment. Fred's going to support you. You can do it. Should Nix be turning around to take a pot shot at the KV-1? Some would argue yes. And no. Fred nails the KV-1. Fred's on 5 kills. I don't know what is, but this birch gun isn't even looking. That's what you get when you don't watch your minimap. The birch gun's just sitting there in artillery mode with his bird's eye view, and he's not paying attention to the AMX 105 that just casually drove up to him and went, "Oh hi," burp, and took him out. That looked like the AMX 13 on the enemy team taking a shot and missing. Now, Nix, look at this in chat. Artie, you are my hero. You're damn right he is. Now, Nix isn't sitting here trying to cap, right? He's not that stupid. There's still an unlocated AMX 13 out there somewhere. And it's entirely possible that those Churchills, because they haven't been spotted, you'd think if the Churchills were attacking, the 3601H might have seen them. So it's entirely possible these Churchills are coming back to try and nail him and defend their own artillery. But there's only 2 minutes and 13 seconds of this game left. The Stug is heading our way at full speed to try to back us up. Because he knows, I mean, he can read a map as well as anybody else. Oh, there's one of the Churchills. And we've definitely been spotted because he stopped. And a Churchill stops because he's aiming at you. Fred takes a shot at him, misses. Now, the Churchill is aiming at this corner. So, don't go around that corner. It seems so obvious when I put it like that, doesn't it? Artillery took a shot, missed. Still haven't spotted that AMX 13 anywhere throughout the rest of this game. So instead of driving around the obvious corner where people are pre-aimed and waiting for him to come, and the Stug's almost here as well, Nix goes around the other side. We've already got a brothers in arms here. 3 kills each. And we're both still alive. There's only a minute of this game left. It's going to need 2 people to cap to win. But there's a Churchill coming. Come on, Stug. Come on, you can do it. Got to get into the cap. Oh! Ran into a rock. Crap! Come on, get around, get around, get around. 55 seconds remaining. Driving into that rock might have cost them the game. Okay, they're both in the cap circle. There's 45 seconds left. They need 45 seconds to cap. Oh, there's going to be 1 second in it. Enemy artillery's got to be desperate now. They're going to randomly be taking shots at the cap circle trying to finish them off. And we know that there is at least 1 Churchill coming back. There he is. Oh! Got to keep moving. Got to keep moving. That Churchill will have spotted us. There's 16 seconds. Oh, the capture timer and the time remaining are almost perfectly in sync. Enemy artillery are going to be firing blind into the cap, trying to reset. There goes another one. Missed again. 97, 99. Game over. You have got to be kidding. One more second. One more second and they would have won. Well, as you've probably guessed, this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly is all about capping. And this is Indu, and you'd be forgiven for thinking he was driving a Pershing by the look of that turret, but that in fact is the M46 Patton Tier 9 American medium tank, not the Pershing, the Tier 8. He does not have the upgraded turret for his Patton. He does have the 105mm gun though, and I'm pretty sure he's got the upgraded engine too, judging by the way this thing's moving. It is a Tier 9 game. He's here on Runeberg. In the description of the replay that Indu put up on the World of Tanks replay site, he, at the time, listed this as the best game he ever played in 10,000 games of World of Tanks. And it is pretty impressive. It doesn't have a particularly good start. I mean, it doesn't have a particularly bad start, but there's nothing spectacular about it. It's just, you know, shooting tanks, the odd shot bounces, doesn't have a very good angle. The gun's accuracy lets him down. Targets disappear just as he pulls the trigger. He doesn't know if he hit them or not. You know, it's an average game. At first. But what makes this game is the decisions that he makes at the time that he makes them. And the combination of random factors that's so much a part of playing World of Tanks that means he gets away with making those decisions, and they're absolutely the right decisions to make, and has a fantastic game as a result. You'll see what I mean. Now, he does fire some premium ammo in this game. I'm not sure exactly when. Patch 8.8 replay, patch 8.9 game engine, it doesn't show the ammo loadout. It's a bug with the replays, but I'm pretty sure he's firing his APCR ammo at extreme range here against that IS-8 and the 4502. Because he didn't make a lot of money out of this game after replenishing his ammunition. But he certainly wasn't firing exclusively APCR ammo, only when he needed it. And as you can see, even APCR at that range isn't a guaranteed penetration. The 105mm gun on the Patton is a good punchy gun, but its accuracy leaves a lot to be desired. At that range you really can't aim for weak spots or even flat surfaces. It's just aim in the general direction of the flattest area of the tank and cross your fingers and hope for luck. So that T-54 is giving his team problems. Unfortunately, he can't really go around and shoot up the arse of that T-54 because there are some big nasty tanks covering his rear down the other end of that road. So first he's going to have to deal with the KV-2 and the IS-3 who are camping that corner where the T-30 is. You can see he's thinking about popping out and taking on that T-54. But then he changes his mind. The KV-2's just fired, he's killed the T-69. So he plants one into the KV-2, the T-30 finishes off the IS-3, this T-54's just run out of friends. He reloads, kills him. Now, look at the cap counter. Somebody's going to have to get in there and start killing the guys who have all the capture points. Okay, that T-34, okay, kill's a kill, but he had already just been hit. He didn't have any of the cap points. That hasn't helped to reset the cap counter. They're about to lose. Somebody else makes a good shot, but they haven't reset the counter by much. So he moves up, and he's looking for something that's still on full health and sitting in the cap circle, because that means that they still have all of their capture points. So while the 4502A is the obvious target, he's taken damage. There. He's 75. The cap's at 96. He resets. He's thinking about shooting at the IS-3 and the KV-4, but the cap's back up to over 90 again. Has to shoot a different tank. Plants one into the 4502A. Resets him, completely ignoring the IS-3 behind him. The IS-3 isn't winning the game. That guy needs to be reset. And there it is. 3 shots. First shot into the E75, reset his cap counter completely. Second shot, 4502A, reset his cap counter completely. Third shot, second 4502A. Game 1. So those 3 shots that did it. And he didn't need to worry about the IS-3 and the KV-4 behind him, because friendly tanks on the map, keeping his flank secure. And now he can afford to clean up at his leisure. Now that was a well played game. The first half of the match was, you know, fairly average, nothing spectacular. Not an awful lot happened. But from the moment when it became clear that they were about to lose to being capped, Indu made every correct decision. A lot of us would have been tempted when charging down that road into the cap circle and suddenly seeing an IS-3 and a KV-4 on our flank. A lot of us would have been tempted to stop and try to deal with them to make it safe to go in and reset the cap. Wrong decision, and he knew it. He had to trust his team to keep his back secure while he was charging into the cap circle and doing the hero thing. And on the map, there were 3 friendly tanks following him up that road. So the IS-3 at the most got to fire 2 shots into him, and he knew he had the health to take it. The shots that he took, one on the E75, one on each of the 2 4502As. He didn't get greedy, he didn't try to farm kills. He shot the tanks that needed to be shot in the right order, at the right time, and he won the game. And the reason he says that this is the best game he's played in 10,000 matches isn't because of the amount of credits that he earned. He earned 78,000 credits, which is nice, but he's earned more than that in games before. And it wasn't the amount of damage that he did. He did 5,800 damage, but he's done more damage in a match than that. And it certainly wasn't the number of kills that he got. I mean, even though he did get 6 kills in a Top Gun, he's done better than that in other games. It's as he says in the replay description, the gameplay in this one is not about the kills or the damage. It's about saving the game. Final match in this compilation. And this match gave me big problems when I'm trying to think of how to introduce it. Because this one's all about the ending. We're continuing the theme of capping in today's The Good, the Bad and the Ugly compilation. This is Zankia, who I believe is a Polish tanker. Certainly the guys in his platoon are Polish. He's platooned up with 2 other guys. He's in his IS, Soviet Tier 7 heavy tank. It's a Tier 8 game here on Pearl River. Now there seems to be 2 different ways of dealing with this flank here on Pearl River. The North American server approach seems to favour everybody waiting in ambush on this side of the bridge. You know, that works. On the EU server, most teams tend to be aggressive. This is certainly the way I prefer playing it. And rushing over the bridge, getting forward and taking the fight to the enemy. However, you can't do it alone. I've lost track of the number of would-be heroes who have charged over to their certain death without paying attention to their map and realising that everybody else on the team is camping in ambush on this side of the bridge, and then of course raging at their team for being a bunch of noobs. Well, you know, if you'd been paying attention to your map, you wouldn't have rushed off to die alone. But then this team, in this game, they didn't seem to know whether they were coming or going. Zankier went over, got hit, looked, shit, I'm alone. Okay, you know, you want to ambush? Fine, we'll ambush. Came back. But then they all started dithering around and changing their minds, and it's too late now. You know, that you've just given that choke point to the enemy team. So, you know, the team wants to camp and ambush as they come over, fine. You know, he's lost half his health, he's got a damaged turret ring, and he hasn't done any damage to the enemy team. But if you want to camp, fine, we'll camp. The enemy team were slow in coming forward, though. So, you know, they had the opportunity to be aggressive and take that choke point, and they threw it away. They're now committed to camping here on this side of the river, in ambush, waiting for the enemy team to come around. But this was just such a bizarre game. I mean, where the hell are the enemy team? I realise that nobody wants to be the first one to poke their nose around the corner when they know there's an ambush waiting for them on the other side of the bridge, but they're taking their time coming around. And of course, as soon as somebody spots one enemy tank, everybody opens up on him. Instead of waiting for all of them to come into the killing ground. Because, you know, random teams. But this is where it starts to get weird. Look at the map. See where the Carnarvon is now? He's on the other side of the map. So the IS-3s decide, screw this. And against all reason, they push. And it turns out to be exactly the right thing to do, because there's nobody here anymore. There's one T-29 and an AT-7, that's it. Well, it's no wonder nobody wanted to push the corner. I mean, I wouldn't have driven around the corner if I was one of those two. But where's the rest of their team gone? It's as if they came around the corner, saw one IS and thought, screw that, I'm out of here. Of course, it's a real shame they couldn't have done that 4 minutes ago, when Zankier charged around the corner alone, when it mattered, but it's done. Now, the question is, what sort of rear guard have they left? Because they're pushing, there's a lot of enemy tanks pushing in on our cap. And the only thing they've got that looks to be in a position to hold off the entire enemy team is one AMX-46. So whatever they're going to do around this corner of the map, they're going to have to do it quick. And there were so many of these bizarre decisions in this game, like that T-150. Why did he do... I mean, what? Did he really think he was going to even provide anything more than a momentary speed bump to 4 Tier 7 and 8 heavy tanks? And it's not as if he didn't have the option of not doing that. Look at where the rest of his team are. Displaying more sense than our Tier 8s, who are all sitting in the middle of an open field getting shot up one by one. Their tanks are at least taking advantage of the corner so that they can hide while they're reloading without getting shot at. Zankier here at least has the common sense to try to head out onto the flank and set up some sort of crossfire here to try to put some effective fire into those guys while they think they're safe and reloading around the corner of the buildings. But they know he's here. At least he is putting the pressure on them. Speaking of pressure, there's also an E-25 and a Pershing making a run on our artillery. The AMX-46 is trying to fight them off. We've just lost one of our arty. Zankier's platoon mate in the other arty is making a run for it. He's trying to get the hell out of there. Let's not forget, there is also an AMX-12T on our team who has basically just not moved for the last 8 minutes and has contributed nothing so far towards this game. Zankier is I mean, look at this. He's doing everything he possibly can to try to keep... no, waste of time. They've all died in the cap circle. Probably not trying to cap, but not being very smart about attacking the enemy tanks either. Unless, of course, they were actually trying to cap, in which case they're even bigger idiots than I took them to be. Meanwhile, that AMX-46 has killed the Pershing. The E-25 has run off. Zankier can kill that IS-3, but he needs to penetrate. And rather than take the risk, he's backing up and his buddy in the M44 is trying to get into position to take the shot for him. And then suddenly everything goes wrong all at once. Because that's when the ISU-152 appears. And now Simo, his buddy in the M44 artillery, is deep in the shit. Because he has been spotted. That IS-3 just took a shot at him. Meanwhile, down on the southern end of the map, the AMX-12T and the AMX-46 have just run into trouble. Well, at least the AMX-12T is now actually taking part in the game. But the two of them should be able to handle a KV-1S. And they do. Meanwhile, Zymo is backing up around this corner and he's just waiting to sell his life dearly. At least trying to get a shot into whoever comes around after him. But where's the E-25 gone? I would have expected that E-25, after they lost the Pershing and he ran away, to look for some backup, partner up with the KV-1S. But he obviously didn't do that. So now they're being capped. So now we know where the E-25 is. Now, you would have thought that Simo here would have spotted that IS-3 and ISU-152 by now. So have they gone around the other way as well? Well, the AMX-12T and the 46 are heading back to the cap. I mean, they have to. The E-25 will be there. And I'm really surprised that Simo in the artillery hasn't seen anyone yet. There's the E-25. And Zakier switches his view back to the 46, and as he does that, that's when Simo gets killed. The 12T killed the E-25, reset the cap. Simo found out the hard way where the IS-3 was. But we still have no sign of that ISU-152. Now, is the IS-3... Logic would dictate that the IS-3 is now going to come through the village and try to cross the bridge. Is the ISU-152 with him? That would make sense. They'd be mad to split up at this stage of the game. And, you know, I do feel a certain amount of sympathy for this poor little AMX-12T driver. I mean, he's only in an AMX-12T. He's got a damaged engine. His one ace card in this game is his speed and manoeuvrability, and he doesn't even have that anymore because his engine's been damaged. And while he certainly didn't do jack shit for the first half of the game, he has, you know, reset the cap, and he's killed the E-25. And the team are all yelling at him, do this, do that, and he's got to be feeling a lot of pressure. But he is sitting in an incredibly dumb position. Look what you're doing. I can see what you're trying to do, but there's cover behind you. There's concealment. Yeah, okay, you're going to see whoever it is that comes around that corner, but they're going to see you too. Use the bushes, dude. He's got to be under a lot of pressure, right? So, you know, let's not be too harsh. But the obvious thing to do here is for him to sit in those bushes and spot anybody that comes over that bridge for the AMX-46. The AMX-46 can sit back there in concealment and fire without being seen at targets that this guy spots. But the 12T's having none of it. And this was a massive risk. I mean, I just kept expecting every second for this guy to just suddenly disintegrate as an IS-3 or an ISU-152 just obliterates him. But they're not here. This I did not expect. They must have gone around the other way, and probably took the long way around, all the way over to the west. Otherwise, we'd have seen them in the cap circle by now. Either that, or they're taking a massive risk themselves and they're sitting camping their cap circle waiting to ambush anybody who tries to cap them. But there's not a lot of time left on the clock. And that would be a gamble. So they're probably long way around, all the way to the west, taking the long route into the cap. Of course, if they are waiting to ambush anybody coming into their cap circle, we're going to find out very, very soon. But this little guy seems to have gotten away with it. Of course, now he's in the cap circle, he's just announced his presence to everybody on the enemy team. Now they know where at least one enemy tank is. And unless the two of them are right about to roll into our cap circle, they're gonna have to come back and reset. But I just wish this 12T would hide. What are you doing? Yes, that's it. Listen to your team. Okay? Yes, yeah. Use the cover of the dead idiots. That's all they're good for. Right. And now we wait. And the 46 is lying in ambush, waiting to defend this guy and try to keep him alive. And the clock is ticking. Now, at this point, I have to give massive props to the AMX46 driver because of what he is about to do. The 46 probably can't one-shot kill the IS-3 and definitely can't one-shot kill the ISU. And there he is, and the 12T driver panics, and he's about to throw the game away. He's not hiding behind the IS-3. He's exchanging fire with the ISU, so the 46 driver does the only thing he can do, and he sacrifices himself to shield him. What a hero. All the 12T driver has to do now is nothing. Stay in cover. And come on, we've capped. Yes, game over. And why did you do that? But it doesn't matter. We've won. Well, actually, Jingles, the game does give you 5 seconds after the base has been captured to fuck up and fail horribly. And the AMX-12T driver did not disappoint. And on that bombshell, I'll bid you a fond farewell and catch you next time. By the way, for those of you who have watched all the way through to the end, today's video has bonus content. I left an Easter egg in this video. Earlier on I mentioned 4 Tier 7 and 8 heavy tanks. One of them was obviously an SU-100 Tier 6 tank destroyer. So if you pause the video at that point in order to point out my mistake, you must be feeling pretty silly now. If you didn't pause the video at that point to point out my mistake, and you are still watching this far into the video, you get to take part in this video's bonus game, which, if you choose to take part, is to find all of those comments that say, actually Jingles, one of them was an SU-100, and point them towards this part of the video. And then laugh. Jingles videos, now with bonus content and fun games for all the family. Take care, folks.